AITA, asking particularly for men's opinions as per the husband's request. I had a baby 8 weeks ago. My toddler is only 1.5-year-old, so to under 2. I took 3 months unpaid maternity leave, had to save up during the pregnancy to afford it. My husband didn't get any leave and had to keep working. He works from home. During these 8 weeks, my husband has gone out to a couple of dinners, a late meeting neighborhood committee, a wedding that I had to tag along to, unwillingly. At only 6 weeks after a C-section, to make him happy, late drinks following one of the dinners he came home at 4:30 a.m. last week, and is scheduled to go on a bachelor trip later on that was supposed to be a weekend in New Orleans and is now a 4-day international trip to Jamaica. He also told me about having 3 couples over to our house, which then turned, without my previous knowledge, into a 40-person get-together. Yes. You read that number right, and he's telling me he can't end that event at 7 so we can put the kids to bed because he can't ask people to leave. So he has not been deprived socially in any way. Now he's saying he wants to go to a double birthday party in New York City this Friday, which will naturally mean a late night. I'm arguing that, as a father of 2 very young kids in the trenches of postpartum, he should be sitting out of some of these events to stay home and help me at night. Our nanny is off the clock at 7 p.m., 5 p.m. on Fridays, so it's at night that I need him the most. He argues that point 1, he's home all day instead of going out to the office and having drinks after point 2. He's able to wake up early after a late night to help with the kids. However, 1, it's not my fault his job is from home, and I tell him he wouldn't get to be out for drinks every night if he has a baby at home that needs him, and 2, well, he does wake up at 7 a.m. after a late night. He then proceeds to be in a sour mood about how exhausted he is, and I end up picking up all the slack for the next couple of nights to help him recover. So it all falls back on me anyway. Of note, while I am on maternity leave now, I'm with the kids all day along with the nanny, so I'm not sitting around doing nothing. I also have a mental illness that requires me to prioritize my sleep, particularly in the postpartum period, which I have been completely putting aside in order to favor my husband getting good sleep because he's working. Also, he gets reasonable chunks of break time throughout the day, so he is not working nonstop by any means. Am I being unreasonable? Isn't it fair that, as a father, he gives up some of these social events while his baby is a newborn? Should I just suck it up and let him be out and about for as many late nights as he wants? Edited to ADD. I am the breadwinner. I make more than triple what my husband makes, so I am not a gold digger because I work. I hired a nanny. I simply didn't want to fire her just for 3 months of leave and lose her, so I saved up during pregnancy to be able to keep her. Working people need childcare. Simple as that. My husband isn't a terrible person, or I wouldn't have married him. When he's home, he's absolutely a dad to his kids, especially on weekends when he's off work. It's this one issue about the crazy amount of social events during this period that I'm having a problem with. We did get tons of women's opinions in a Facebook group, so then my husband asked if we could also get men's. I didn't know this would be a problem before kids or even after the first kid, because this all began after my husband went back to school for his master's and met all these friends that he now believes it's crucial he network with. They're not co-workers. We are not relying on Reddit to fix our marriage. We have recently started marriage counseling. We were simply curious what everyone else and biased third parties thought because we both believe we are right. Update, he agrees he's in the wrong and says he feels terrible that he's been so inconsiderate. He says he knew it after the women commented but just wanted to hear what men had to say too. He says he will cool it with the events and continue to work on this in therapy. He should have seen my point just because I made it, but we're both super opinionated, so I guess he was being either stubborn or simply delusional. Update 2. I decided I'll be taking a 1-week trip abroad with my best friend when baby is 6 months. I don't want to do it any sooner, and husband will manage kids on his own. Am I the a-hole for rejecting the worst name ever for our offspring? So my husband 38 male and I 36 female are expecting our first child, a bouncing baby girl due in a few months. We were both over the moon when we found out the gender, but now things have gotten complicated, to say the least. See, when we first started talking about names, the boy name was immediately decided, Stuart Jr., after my husband. No problem there, it's a classic name and carries family meaning. But for a girl, things got murky. My husband suggested Stuarta. No, you're not having a stroke. Apparently, his logic is that since Stuart ends in T, we can just add an A to make it feminine. I tried explaining why that doesn't quite work, how it sounds more like a furniture brand than a human name, how she'd be endlessly correcting people and explaining its origin. He's adamant though, says it honors him while giving our daughter a unique name. I've suggested alternatives, feminine names that maybe share a similar sound or meaning to Stuart, names he's mentioned liking in the past, even just going back to the drawing board entirely. But he's fixated on Stuarta. Now, I love my husband dearly, and I understand wanting to honor family. But I can't imagine subjecting our daughter to a lifetime of awkward stares and endless questions about her unusual name. I also worry about potential bullying and the impact it could have on her self-esteem. So, Reddit, am I the jerk for refusing to budge on Stuarta? Is there any compromise I haven't considered? Help a soon-to-be mama out. Am I the a-hole for telling my roommate that her anorexia is not my problem? We are both 23 female. It's been getting into the 90s where we live, so I've been turning on the AC when I get home. I also work a physically intense outdoor job, so I come home really sweaty and exhausted from the heat. The apartment will stay cool enough for me to fall asleep, but then later on I'll wake up in the middle of the night completely drenched in sweat. I'll then get up and find out that my roommate has been switching the AC off while I'm sleeping. This really upsets me because it's been making me really dehydrated and tired to begin with from not sleeping well, and it's been impacting my work. She's unemployed right now, so I thought she might have been hung up about the power bill. When I finally talked to her about it, I explained that I'm already very sensitive to heat to begin with, and that because we're fortunate enough to have AC, I want to enjoy it when I get home, especially after a long day at work, and that the heat is causing problems for me. I even offered to foot some of her share of the power bill if she was really that concerned about it. But then she said that she turns it off because the apartment gets too cold. I should add that our AC is set at 70 and has never been moved lower than that. I told her that she should just use some blankets or put a sweater on if it was really bothering her, because the heat is unbearable. She then countered by saying that because she's in recovery from anorexia, she's really sensitive to cold and that I'm not prioritizing her needs. I then responded by saying, I'm sympathetic to your situation, but that is your problem and not mine. And it is starting to have a negative impact on me, and we need to find some middle ground here, because I can't take off my skin when it gets too hot. She then got extremely upset and angry and told me that I was being ableist and insensitive. I'm kind of bothered by this because I've also had struggles with eating disorders in the past. So am I the asshole here? Please like and subscribe for more videos.